Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to this Twins Talk thing. And, well, let's just jump into it. These are going to be the three biggest players that need to step up in 2018, or guess what? They could be out of job in 2019, or at least no longer on the Twins. And first off, we are going to start with Kyle Gibson. So we drafted Kyle Gibson 2009 in the first round, 22nd overall. Just to let you know, we passed up on Mike Trout. So we took Kyle Gibson. Now Kyle Gibson has really struggled, to be honest. He hasn't had the best of seasons. Let's just go through that. But he has stepped it up a little bit in the last year. So here we go. This is what he's looked like in the last 6 years. He started in 2013 when he finally made it to the majors. Obviously, first year, can't give him too much, 2-4. He had a 6.5 ERA, 10 games started, not too hot, but he pitched 51 innings, gave up 69 hits, 37 earned runs, 7 home runs, 20 walks, 5 hit by pitches, but he had 29 strikeouts, not too hot. The next season, went 13-12. Now, not bad. 2014. I mean, it's his first big year. You know, he's doing a little bit better for himself. 13 wins is not bad at all. 12 losses. It was a rough year for the Twins, I tell you. So he had a 4.4 ERA, a little bit better, but still not good. 31 games started. He had 180 innings pitched, 178 hits, so that's not bad. 89 earned runs, 12 home runs, 57 walks, 2 hit by pitches, 11 wild pitches, which was the most in his career, and 107 strikeouts. So again, strikeouts really not where you want it to be. He's more of a ground ball hitter anyways, but not bad, getting a little bit better. 2015, 11-11, again, solid year, but the losses are hurting us. 3.8 ERA, which is his second best ERA. I mean, that's not too hot. But 32 games started. I'll just go through the numbers quickly. He pitched the most innings he had before last year. 194, 186 hits. That's not bad. 65 walks, 18 home runs, 83 earned runs, 145 strikeouts. 2016, back to garbage. 6-11. 5 ERA. He had a 5 ERA the next year at 12-10. Gibson struggled. And then this year in 2018, he went 10-13 with a 3.6 ERA, 196 innings pitched, 177 hits, 88 runs, 79 earned runs, which is pretty good. 79 walks, 23 home runs given up, and 179 strikeouts. So by far, that was his best year, hands down, besides the losses. And, you know, the Twins kind of struggled this year, and they did not get the productivity out of their players as they wanted to. We had some injuries and never really found our groove. So 10-13, while it's not the best record, he definitely had his best season, and this is why he's on the chopping block. This is his last year as a member, or before his contract is up for next year. He's a free agent in 2020, so at the end of this season. And he had a great year. He's really going to have to step it up this year if he wants a job next year, because he is basically our ace. And that's kind of hard to say because Santana got hurt, and then he was solid for 2 years, or 2 years ago, then got hurt last year, didn't really play much. This year, he's not even on the team yet. He's a free agent. So Gibson, looking at his season, he's already technically our ace. He's coming off of his best season. I want to see him at least at 15 wins, 10 losses probably maximum. That would be a solid season. I don't think it's too hard to do for him. You know, we're going to have Nelson Cruz and a bunch of other players who I've already gone over. 15 wins, not bad. 10 losses would be perfect, and I think that would get him a couple more years on the team. He is 6'6". I mean, he's a big pitcher. He's 31 years old. I would maybe see if he can finish off this year, 32, give him a 4-year deal or something, and see how good he can actually be. But yeah, like I said, 15 wins, 10 losses. ERA under 3 would be incredible, but 3.5 would be reasonable, I think. 32 starts or so. 200 innings pitched, maybe. Get him into deeper games. And then, like 175 hits, less than 20 home runs, about 175 strikeouts again. I think that's all doable, and he's really going to have to step it up this year because he's our ace, and we're expecting a lot out of him. So that's the first guy. Second guy, Jake Odorizzi, another pitcher here. Came over from Tampa Bay, and this was his first year on the Twins. He has got one more year before his contract is up as well. And, he had some very, very good games this season. He had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning, I think, or maybe it was even the 8th inning this year. Obviously, that was one good game, but he also had another good game in, I think it was Chicago against the White Sox. I was at that game, and he pitched very well into the 5th or 6th inning. However, the week before that, he'd have a struggle game where he'd only get through 2 innings. So this is really going to be a huge season for him. Again, going down the stats, he played for the Kansas City Royals, I believe. Is that what that says? Kansas City Royals. Yes, 2012, he went 0-1 with a 5 ERA, only played in 2 games. The next season, he got traded or was a free agent or something. Got traded, moved over to Tampa Bay, played there for 4 years, or 5 years rather. In his first season, went 0-1. Second season, 11-13, 9-9, 10-6, and then 10-8. All ERAs above 3.5, except for his 2015 season where he had a 3.35 ERA. But the numbers not too hot. Started about 30 games in each of those seasons and pitched only about 160, 170 innings in all of those seasons with about 130-ish strikeouts, taking the average from those. So that was his time in Tampa. He wasn't a bad pitcher, but definitely nowhere near, again, like a Kershaw, a Baumgartner when he was in his prime, a Greinke, these guys who you would probably expect, especially coming out of a first-round pick, just like Gibson was. Just numbers that you would expect maybe a lower guy to do, and now you've got these top first-round picks doing it, not the hottest pitcher that you want to see on your team. Anyways, we have him maybe as a 2, maybe as a 3, depending on who else is in the rotation and how hot they are, but he went 7-10 with a 4.4 ERA. That's not too hot again. 164 innings, 151 hits, which is not terrible, but considering his ERA is pretty bad. It's 82 earned runs, 89 hits, 20 home runs allowed, 70 walks, and 162 strikeouts. So he did have about a strikeout per inning. Now, here's the thing. He's going to go into a free agent contract again. Do we take him? This season is going to be big. The Twins have always struggled with pitchers. Always. Every single year. It seems that pitchers who were supposed to do really good don't. Maybe a guy who gets called up does pretty well for a couple games and then falls back again. We have 2 pitchers who basically are going to be on the chopping block, who are both first-round picks for their respective teams. This was the Brewers, and then obviously Gibson was the Twins. But you have this guy who went 7-10. The 4.4 ERA. If he wants to stay on the team next year, he needs to produce. Again, I want to see 12 wins out of him, 7 losses, maybe even flip it 10-7. ERA under 4 for sure. We don't need him as an ace, but for what he's worth, I think that's doable. Also, again, 175 innings pitched, 150 hits would be amazing. 175 strikeouts, fantastic numbers. I don't think that he can do that just based on his streakiness of last season. However, that's what I think he needs to stay on the team for next season. Okay, the last player I think is going to have to step up the most, and that is Jonathan Schoop. So, he has had, looking at his numbers, he hasn't had the most best season, whatever, but he had some solid season. He came up in 2013 with the Baltimore Orioles. He only played 5 games, so we're not going to even count that season. 2014, played 137 games, He batted .209, .244 on base percentage, 16 home runs. 2015, 86 games. Must have gotten hurt. Again, though, .306 on base percentage, .279 average, and 15 home runs. Skipping ahead the next couple of years, obviously he played on Baltimore in 2018 and the Milwaukee Brewers. He wanted to get traded for a playoff run because he's not a bad player. He gets on base a decent amount of time. If you look over his, besides 2014, he's on base just about 300% of the time. His OBP for his career is .294. His batting average is .258. And he's got some big expectations going into this season with the Twins. He's going to be he was a free agent this year. The Twins signed him to a one-year deal, and now he's going to be a free agent next year as well. There's a lot of pressure on him. I doubt we'll sign Forsythe back. I figured it out. He is a free agent as well, and we have not signed him to a contract yet. I highly doubt we will now that we have picked up Scope. We also have, like I said, Ronald Torreyes in the minors system. We picked him up from the Yankees. We have Polanco, Andrianza, and Nick Gordon, who could all pull together, figure something out and plug their spot in at second base. It doesn't take much to play second base. Basically, you got to have another good stat. You can't just have fielding as a good stat. You got to have speed, hitting, something of that sort. Scope, he gets on base. He could be a leadoff hitter. I know I didn't really say anything about that in my other video about the leadoff hitter, but he could be up there maybe versus a lefty starting pitcher. He could be a leadoff hitter in that regard. He could be a bottom of the lineup guy, maybe just scrape across a couple runs, depending on where, you want to put Garver or Polanco or Rosario or anybody else. You've got him. He's very versatile, and he can play a lot of different spots in the lineup. I really think it's going to be a crucial year, though, for him. He's got to produce the numbers if he wants to stay on the team or even earn his spot. This is the biggest thing. He doesn't even have to play for next year. He's got to play for his spot because you've got a young guy in Nick Gordon. Andrianza's on the team already. He didn't have a terrible season. I mean, they could move Polanco over to second. They could, pull up Ronald Reyes or even Royce Lewis. I doubt that will ever happen, like I said in my last video yesterday. But there's so many other people that could take his position at second base. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him to do well. It's not like Baltimore where everybody else is garbage. You've got, no offense, but you've got players around the team who can play that position and who could put up better numbers. His numbers are not bad at all, like I've said. However, it's really going to come down to how bad does he want to play and have a starting job. He could be put on the bench pretty easily, in my opinion, but he could, be an everyday starter depending on how he does. I really want to see him above the I would even say 275 mark. He's pushing 275 for the last couple seasons, since 2015. On base percentage, I can definitely see him, 300, maybe 350, if he works on his discipline a little bit more. In the last couple seasons, it's bounced a little bit, but 338, 290, 298, 306, I think he can push up to 333, 350 mark, and that could really land him a spot on the team. And then, I want to see him hit 25 home runs. I don't think that's too much of a challenge. He's hit 25, 32, 21, so I don't think 25 would be too much, and I think that would be a really good base point for him to get on the team and basically solidify his spot. So those are three players that I believe really have to step up for 2019. I might have said 2018 earlier in the video, but 2019 is going to be a big year for these guys to step up and be basically put themselves out there and be part of the team if they either want a job next year or if they want to keep their job this year. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoy these videos, as well as I like seeing your feedback and your opinions down in the comments as well. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to do that down in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, and we will see you back here tomorrow for another one.